I want to start by highlighting the importance of segregating expertise. In other words, we're all experts at something, but being experts at one thing, perhaps running a company, does not mean we're expert at something else, such as being in a successful marriage. And Ray Dalio of Bridgewater fame has expertise in looking at macro trends and the rise and fall of nations, of empires, and of companies. And that's what I want to look at today, because one of the values of reality being fractal, meaning that nations can tell us a lot about individuals and individuals can tell us a lot about nations, because an individual is a microcosm, right? It's not identical, but it's a microcosm. The present moment is a fractal representation of the past or the future. It's not identical, but there are similar characteristics, is that we can learn by looking through a variety of lenses, big macro lenses, very small lenses, and gain more depth perception. So what we're going to look at here is Ray's book, which I've been enjoying, on principles for dealing with the changing world order and the rise and fall of, in this case, the decline of the American empire and the rise of the Chinese empire, following a tradition over the last 1,000 or so years as empires have come, and they tend to follow a pattern. And the rise and fall of individuals also tends to follow a pattern. And so I'm going to read from the Audible PDF in Ray's book. You can look at whether a company is or a country is on the ascent or the descent by looking at how good is their education. So education is a form of technology, and so if a country is dramatically investing in their education, that's a rising indicator. Then trade, how much is the country trading, and are they exporting more than they're importing? That would be an indication of strength. Innovation and new technology. Is the country, relative to other countries in the world, producing more new ideas, more new useful technology, and adopting them? Economic output. How much money per person is being produced by that country? Competitiveness. How inexpensive relative to other countries is a given country? Is it a financial center? Meaning, is it big enough that other countries revolve around it? Then does it have a military? Does it have backing of some kind to enforce its plan and protect its assets? And then, is it a reserve currency? Now, a reserve currency, which is currently the dollar as the primary reserve currency. A reserve currency is the currency that international deals are more likely to be done in, and that boosts the currency artificially, and as a result, gives wealth to the people who primarily use the reserve currency and can print the reserve currency, which currently is the U.S. So those are the predictors. Meaning, if you look at the last 1,000 years, countries that are doing well or better than all the other countries in those areas and that are substantial and have good resources, etc., tend to be on the ascent. And countries that are doing poorly are declining. And so it's useful to see these big pictures because then we can bring it down to the individual, right? As an individual at any given point relative to our community, because it's all relative, are we investing more in our education than the average member of our community, right? Are we investing in our education? Are we innovating and adopting new technology? Those are protocols. Thoughts are a technology. Feelings are a technology. Words are a technology. A car is a technology. An electric blower is a technology, right? So are we innovating and adopting and creating new, more intelligent technology relative to the other members of our group? Do we have more exports than imports? So another way of saying that is, are we earning more money than we're borrowing? Right. So that that's strengthening us as an individual. So the income to debt ratio. Productivity. How many hours of the day are we generating value for ourselves and others relative to our peers, relative to other individuals around the world? And do we have a reserve status? Like, are we a default person? Like when something really important needs to be done in our area of expertise, are we, the default place to go, right? Because the best company in a town or a city that builds roads, right? The best, where everyone knows that this is the best company, then that's the one that gets the premium jobs, the jobs that really matter. So investing in our education, saving and investing money, generating and innovating new technology, in putting more energy, like not just work, if you have a country where everyone in the country works 1 hour a day, and you have a similar country where everyone works 10 hours a day, the country where everyone works 10 hours a day is going to put out roughly 1,000% more value. That's more trade, right? And as a result, they're going to get 1,000% more experience. So they're going to iterate 1,000% faster, right? So they're going to have more investments, more wealth, which is going to allow them to think more long term. The less wealth you have, the more narrow-minded you are. Because if you've got $1 and rent is $1, you can't see beyond the rent. But if you've got $3,000 and rent is $1 and you've got 3,000 months in advance, well, now you can start realistically, and it's useful, it's intelligent to start thinking about the future, to start thinking about the next generation. So when you create personal wealth, you can start thinking about the next few decades and where things are going. So let me know if you take any action on any of this. I'm really enjoying both, a revival of the company I've owned for 30 years, but also just, looking at how to start measuring these metrics as individuals and perhaps put them into an app where we can see the rise and fall of each of us as individuals and the indicators that are lifting us up and taking us down.